Hello, my loves. Welcome to my March deck faves video. I'm so excited to share with you all some of my favorite decks this month, some unexpected babies that have ascended to the top of the most used list this month. I can't believe it's been a month already since I did the last and the first video in this series, and so many of you said you enjoyed it. I'm quite excited to continue with the deck faves videos for each month. So I worked with a lot of new decks this month, and I've been really quite contemplative in my practice. I've really been enjoying smaller spreads personally, daily draws, and I've really been attempting to get back into my journaling practice. The weather has been so crazy here, and we dealt with a little flooding here in my apartment. And so over the last month, and so I've really been working with trying to get back to those foundations of my practice that just feel so good. You know, daily draws and journaling for me, time spent connecting with the goddess particularly, just means so much. And we had such a powerful Astara observance as a community, those of us who gathered together. That observance was so empowering and enlivening. And personally for myself, over the last few weeks, I've really wanted to step back into a space of the mystery of my own essence as a priestess and a witch, the mystery of my practice, and the mystery of the goddess herself, really tapping into working with Lilith and Persephone and Babylon and feeling their invitation to fall back in love with the mystery of the unexplored and the untapped depths of the connection with the goddess and walking a path with her and finding and feeling that within oneself. So yes, I do have a little bit of a new workshop percolating around that, don't worry. But I've really been finding that to be quite impactful. And so these decks have kind of been very supportive of that in unexpected ways. And I'm excited to talk about them. So I won't blather on too much because I will do a witchy path update soon, because I know you guys love those videos as well. So I'll get more into personal practice and personal reflection there. But really, really feeling just the love of the goddess and connection to the goddess in such a profound way. So I'm gonna have a sip of tea. It's absolutely freezing here. We had such beautiful warm weather last week, and now today it's snowing. They just cut school short. So I'm gonna edit myself here too and not allow myself to blather on too long because I have to go pick up Vincent. They have early release today due to the snow. But yes, this always happens in New England. We think it's spring and then bam, we get another blast of winter. So it's chilly. It's a day for tea and soup and stew and warm cookies and lots of beautifully well lit candles with delicious scents filling the air. So that being said, my loves, okay, so as part of just kind of moving through the craziness of life in 2025, which I'm sure many of you also feel like in the last 3 months you've lived through what would typically a decade ago have been an entire year of things happening. But as part of that, kind of moving through a lot of unexpected things personally, just having big things happen that you weren't planning on and having to address them. I've been seeing a lot of cardinals, and for me, cardinals are very much a representation, of my grandmother, Ruth Erickson Flagg. That was my grandmother on my mom's side. She was a Leo and a historian and a writer, and I love her dearly. And so I always have two signs when she shows up: cardinals, and her name Ruth will autocorrect in all of my texting with always autocorrects to Ruth when she shows up. And so as part of that, I think this is why the mini pocket edition of Coastal Curiosities has been a deck that I've been turning to a lot, just for that sense of love and support. I really, really love this deck. I love Lennox Reese decks in general across the board. But Coastal Curiosities has a really, really special place in my heart. And I know she's releasing an alternative edition of this deck, which I do hope to invest in next month. I too have a budget and have to be smart, but it is on my list for next month to hopefully be able to invest in, because I want every edition of this deck that's available. I love this deck so much. It's so loving. For me, it's the voices of my grandmother, my great-grandmother. It's the Maine coastline. It's nostalgia. It's just that connection to the things that have come before us and that have made us who we are. And so I've just been doing a lot of like one card draws with this for myself as I move throughout the day in between readings, and also in readings, just to give kind of an energetic feel to what might be going on for my clients. So the pocket edition of the Coastal Curiosities has come out a lot this month. I'm so sorry, guys. It's because it's cold again, my nose is running. Another deck that I've been using with a beloved student and fellow sister on the path over the last few weeks is the Bloodlands Oracle, which I recently did an unboxing of. This deck it surprised me how much I loved it. It wasn't one I had heard of until my student reached out for this mentorship package, and this was the deck she wanted to work with. But I cannot believe how gentle and loving and just profoundly quiet, yet infinitely deep this deck's voice is. Every card pull feels like an invitation to consider another perspective, to open up to the vastness within parts of yourself as reflected in nature herself. If you're looking to connect to the earth element, but you don't want like a deck that's overly stimulating for the senses, this is a beautiful option. So I've been using it not only with my wonderful student, but I've also been drawn to pull for myself. And I love asking the question, where am I today? What terrain am I traversing today? And this deck gives very clear, concise, yet insightful answers. And not only that, but the whole color theme and setup just is meant to be for me. And so the Bloodlands Oracle has been really enjoyable. Very much like Coastal Curiosities, just a balm to my soul, a loving, supportive voice, a companion on the path. And while I think that this can absolutely clarify tarot beautifully, I'm really enjoying working with this deck just on its own, or in tandem, very aware in how much I'm pulling in conjunction with tarot. I'm not using this as a clarifier all over the place right now, but just maybe a single card pull to clarify something that caps the theme of the spread. I've really been enjoying working with the Bloodlands Oracle for that. So this is going to be a deck that stays on my widely used list. I just realized that I think I only have one tarot deck on this list. I have been using a lot of Oracle lately, especially in my personal practice. Next on the list is the Sacred Glyph Oracle. I'm going to try and put the link to this in the description box because I did an unboxing recently. I purchased this because of the beautiful Rose Bay Tarot. But I always get the name of this deck wrong. So if I will put the link to purchasing this deck below, just in case I got the name wrong. I believe it's the Sacred Glyph Oracle. But I purchased this deck because it's beautiful. I love the kind of sepia muted tones. And I thought it would be a wonderful addition for client readings as a sign or symbol from deity, a guide, a member of the beloved dead, that my clients could look at either the number or the title or image of this card and know that when they see that in their daily life, it's an affirmation for them that their guide, their deity, their beloved dead, or an ancestor is supporting them, right? And that was awesome. And I have been using this deck for that with clients to very good effect. So if you are a fellow reader and you're looking for that kind of deck, this is great. It almost at first glance looks like a Danielle Knoll knockoff. It's not. Totally different feel to Danielle Knoll's decks. And in my opinion, totally different experience. In fact, if I were to equate it with another deck, it would be the Circle of Doors Tarot. Not any Danielle Knoll decks. So that had been a concern of mine when I was unboxing it, and I will do another check-in video on this deck, but I can say with certainty that this is not that type of deck at this point as I'm recording. So it's been beautiful for client work, exactly what I thought I would use it for, just flows very lovely. What I found personally is how supported I feel by this deck. Totally surprised me. I wasn't really thinking about working with it personally that much when I purchased it. And yet I found that it is just such a loving, calm voice of, again, presence and support. So there's definitely a theme here, and the first 3 decks on this list have been present, supportive, loving voices. They're definitely friends, they're companions on the path, they're cheerleaders, they're very loving, but they have a softer way of presenting that. It's not, let's say, as in your face as the Queen Mab Oracle. It's a little bit softer. But I've really been enjoying working with this personally, just as like a, who's with me today, right? So if the Bloodlands is where am I today, this deck is who's with me today. And it's so beautiful for that. I think it could definitely be a clarifier to tarot, but I'm not using it that way at all. It's either a single pull as a sign or symbol for my client, or just as an asking of who's with me and a pull for myself personally. And then seeing where that number, that image, that card title repeats as I move through the day, just as an affirmation that energy or entity is walking with me. So I'm really happy with this purchase, and I've used this deck a ton this month. Hold on one sec. Excuse me. Next on the list is the Lost Oracle by Fiona Horn. You guys know I love this deck. It's in one of my top 5 of all time Oracle decks. I know I need to do that video. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten, guys. But we took a little break. It's like the Queen Mab Oracle for me. Like, I am so obsessed with both of those decks. But sometimes I need a little break. So we took about a month, maybe 2 months off. And then all of a sudden, right before the Astara observance, she came flying back in, and she came in with a fiery passion that just ignited a flame underneath me, especially from a creative perspective when it comes to my witchcraft path and practice, but also as a priestess in what I am putting out there and creating in the world and the space that I'm holding for my community. And so I am thrilled that she is back. I love her. I've been using her a hella ton in client readings, as well as in the Sabbath observance this month, but also for myself, just as like a little, hey, you know, I know you're feeling exhausted. You feel like you have 500 responsibilities. You don't know how you're going to do it all, but remember that there's a light within you too. Remember that there's something for you to be excited about. Here's what feels joyful. Here's what feels juicy. Here's what could be lusty. Here's where you could tap into some of your mystery to move through this situation or circumstance or just the day itself. And I've really been loving working with her again for that. So I do love to use her as a clarifier. She's beautiful as a clarifier to tarot. But if you are a witch or you follow a pagan path, I strongly and highly recommend the Lost Oracle. I cannot say enough wonderful things about it. It's an amazing all-around oracle deck, and I just love her. She just feels like my path to me. She's so representative of my path, so elementally tapped in, and such a freaking joy to work with. So this one has been in heavy rotation since around, I would say, like the 2nd week in March, as I was starting to step into Astara space for my clients. Next on the list is the Pisces Oracle. Yes, we took a break too. We always take a break here and there, but we always come back to each other. The Pisces Oracle is my home oracle deck. It is the deck of my beloved goddess and patroness, Pisces. The artwork is beautiful. This particular edition is this gorgeous, dripping wet cardstock. It's just so, I feel so loved when I work with this deck, and so capable in the goddess's hands, and so protected by her, and so connected to her myth. I love the Pisces Oracle. It's such a great deck to troubleshoot things, to feel a sense of awakening, of valuing oneself, of coming to know oneself, but also the goddess and those sacred aspects of her path and practice, and especially energetic work. that I just cannot say enough about the Ices Oracle. I love it more every single year, but we did take a little break. And I was using the Pocket Edition in a lot of client readings and occasionally for myself I would say it's probably since the beginning of the year. But over the last 2 weeks, I've started to work with her a lot. The full size with the guidebook, involving journaling and connecting to the specific messages that Ices has for me. So I really work with this deck as, what does Ices want me to know? How am I connecting with Ices in my journey? How am I evoking Ices in my past, in my pattern and path, and how does the past affect that as well as the future? So this is a beautiful deck for that, for a spiritual path working, for connecting and building relationship with Ices, for feeling supported and inspired on your path. This is a wonderful oracle deck. Okay, the only tarot deck on my list, and it's really only because the Pulp Tarot is almost on this list, but I did have her in last month's list and I didn't want to, be unfair to other tarot decks. I am still using the Pulp Tarot a lot in client readings. She's just so sassy. It's so much fun. But I used the Dreamkeepers Tarot for the Star Observance this month, and I forgot how beautiful this deck is. Because she doesn't have such a large in-your-face kind of kick down the front door type of voice, sometimes I forget that I have the Dreamkeepers Tarot, and it's such a disservice to my path. And reconnecting with her for Astara has just had me shuffling the deck daily, pulling from it daily, tapping back into its energy. This deck asks you to go slow with it, but if you slow down and take in the imagery, it is profound for tarot readings, for clarity, insight, guidance, and divination. This is a beautiful deck. And for me, it's my version of spring, because to me, this is an air element deck, which is where spring is for me and how I was taught in my shamanic trainings. And while I do equate pastels with spring, even though I'm wearing a pastel today, other than baby blue, I'm not really a pastel girl. I don't feel particularly inspired by pastels. Sometimes they'll actually give me a headache if I'm in the wrong mood. But with the Dreamkeepers Tarot, there's such a soft, dreamlike feel to it that the pastels feel like my version of spring. It's like, okay, I can get on with this deck when it comes to the spring kind of soft, faded pastels, but it still has a little bit of that eerie witch in the woods, Sleepy Hollow vibe to it. I really, really love this deck. And I feel bad because, as I said, because there are other louder decks in my collection, I do feel like I've ignored her a bit. And so pulling her out to work with her throughout the month of March has been a real joy and a rejuvenation to my personal tarot practice, and also a really fun way to access Astara. Because I was working with a deck that I don't use every single day, it was actually very, again, rejuvenating and inspiring. So I would encourage you to pull out a deck you don't work with a lot right now if you want to really get yourself going, if you want to activate yourself. The final deck on my list that I have used the most in the month of March, that I was not expecting to, that is going to have its own updated video coming to the channel hopefully this week or next, is the Softest Shade Oracle by Rose Bay Tarot. Okay, when I purchased this, I was purchasing Lacrimosa. I was there, let's save on shipping. We're going to purchase this. Rose Bay made it. I trust her. I love her decks. I love the way that she creates decks. I love her creative process. I love getting to share her journey through her Instagram. And so I wasn't going to not purchase this deck, but I was a little bit like, okay, it's a lot of pink and purple. It's not really my style. I may not use it that much, but I want to have it in my collection. Well, hold the phone, because I have used this deck every single freaking day in many client readings, including almost all of my Patreon mini monthly outlooks, which if you're at that donation level, I probably did a vibe check for you with this deck. I either did a vibe check with this or the Lost Oracle, and that's my favorite thing to use this deck for. What's the vibe right now? What's my energy? What's the energy around me? How am I interacting with certain specific people in my life? It's so much freaking fun. It's such an awesome deck. It's so sassy. It's so maiden feminine, but it's like maiden on the cusp of stepping into motherhood feminine. Like she's got a little wisdom, but she's still sassy and adventurous and playful. She's like a little bit of an older sister, but maybe you're 17 and your older sister is 19, you know? It has that kind of feel to it. I have been having so much fun with this deck. You want to talk about falling back in love with the mystery of your path and yourself and feeling playful and adventurous. This is a wonderful deck for that. It's not meant to be taken so seriously like gospel. It's a vibe check. It's letting you know what the current energy is and how you can interact with it or not interact with it. It's a really empowering deck of like sisterhood. It's very Venusian. If you want to work with Venus, this and the Goddess of Love Tarot together, please, you will have so much fun. I don't even know. I love it when this happens. Because you never know. Sometimes the deck we have a lot of expectation around, we don't connect with. And then the thing that we got off the cuff, not overthinking it, didn't do a bunch of research on it, just clicked by now, ends up being the deck that you were like, I found a freaking lifelong friend. And that's how I feel. I feel like I have a sister who's going to share the journey for years and years and years. So absolutely in love with this freaking deck. Rose Bay, I know this is one of her earlier decks, but it is no less efficacious and powerful than any of her newer decks. It does feel different than the Sistine Tarot or the Lacrimosa Tarot. I don't want to lead you on there. It is different, but it is the most used deck in my collection for March of 2025. It has its own unique, playful, cheeky, sassy voice. And if you want more of like a general energy, how am I interacting with another person? What's the energy between us? What's the energy in my life? What am I bringing to the table energetically? This is an awesome deck for that. It is so much fun. I highly recommend it. I know it's pink and purple. Why is Racine in love with this deck? I freaking am. I cannot help myself. So these are my most used decks in the month of March 2025. Thanks for having a cup of tea with me and hanging out. I hope it's warmer where you are. I hope if it's spring where you are, you're feeling inspired, impassioned, and alive. I'm sending you absolute oceans of love, and I will, of course, see you in the next video. Take care.